We get the engine started on today's Mobil 1 The Grid in Germany as we go behind the scenes with the masters of the Nürburgring. It's a busy life for sports car drivers, and following a tough Spa 24-hour race just a week earlier, the world's best were at the Nürburgring for round 4 of the German ADAC Supercar Series GT Masters.
It's amazing to switch series like this and to win the 24-hour Spa the week before and then be in ADAC GT Masters the week after. Here you try stuff that you would never try on a 24-hour race, but that's why we love GT Masters. It's such a competitive field, and then the fighting on track is just crazy.
1 week after doing this big endurance race in Spa, GT Masters is a very different kind of game. You really need to be very focused on qualifying, while Spa, on the other hand, qualifying is kind of irrelevant. So very different approach. If I only do endurance racing, I miss sprint racing. If I do sprint racing only, I miss endurance racing. So I'm one of the lucky guys that gets to do both.
GT Masters sees the world's top sports car manufacturers going head-to-head in 2 one-hour races with compulsory driver changes and non-stop action.
This year we have a new rule, so side-by-side racing through the corner is allowed. You need to give the guy on the outside at least room that he can survive and not that you send him off. You can go 2x2 through the corner and the next corner even again 2x2. So it's spectacular for the fans.
It's a championship that has a lot of prestige, especially for the German manufacturers, obviously. You get a lot of factory drivers coming here to lead the lineup, and that's why you see 10 positions covered by a tenth of a second or 2 tenths. It's very, very tight.
Williams F1 test driver Jack Aitken's Lamborghini squad topped the team standings, but it was Porsche and Mercedes who took control on the 3.6-kilometer sprint circuit.
GT Masters is a really nice championship. Most of the time you have a professional driver with a semi-professional, a young driver. In my case, I have Joel Sturm with me. He's doing great, learning every session, and hopefully at the end of the year he's really close and we have same pace.
On a track like Nürburgring Sprint GP, you need a car that has a lot of rotation. The corners are very tight and very twisty, so you need a car that has a lot of oversteer, so the back end is moving. That's what I like, but in GT Master we are 2 drivers. So you need to compromise to have a balance that works for both of us.
The Lamborghini naturally is a bit more on the edge, I think, because it's a mid-engine car. Usually it's quite a busy cockpit compared to, say, a Mercedes, where everything is quite stable and relaxed. But luckily for me, my teammate has quite a similar driving style to me, so it's no problem.
Tactics play a key role, and the mid-race driver changeovers offer a chance to optimize strategy.
We definitely have a window for pit stops, and I think in GT Masters the overcut always works better than the undercut, so we kind of keep focusing on that. But if you're in traffic or if you're way faster than the cars ahead, you need to be smart with it.
The tyres, they're always an important factor of the car, especially because there's no tyre competition here. Everyone is using the same Pirelli compound, and understanding it is massively crucial. The window is very small. You just have to be quite scientific about it, do your testing, and you get an understanding there.
Allied Racing Porsche completed a 2nd podium of the weekend in Sunday's race, but for these drivers, there's not much time to celebrate.
Most of the drivers are doing more championships, maybe 20 to 25 race weekends a year, so we're quite busy, but we love what we're doing, so I could even run more races. I would not complain.
Victory went to Mercedes though, with the Spa 24-hour winner crowning a busy and successful week.
Pretty emotional for me to get my 10th win in ADAC GT Master in such a championship. It's something amazing, and I have to say the last 7 days has been not so bad with the win in Spa, and now winning in GT Master is pretty surreal. It was an eventful race, but really, really happy at the moment, and what a great weekend.
Time now to head on to The Grid.
August was a pivotal month for NASCAR's Kevin Harvick, who booked his place in the Cup Series playoffs with back-to-back victories at Michigan and then Richmond to break a 65-race winless streak in style. 2007 Formula One World Champion Kimi Räikkönen joined the NASCAR circus at Watkins Glen. The Flying Finn ran as high as 9th before he was bumped off track at the bus stop chicane. Chase Elliott was pushed wide by teammate and eventual race winner Kyle Larson on the final restart, but 4th place was still enough to make him the regular season champion. The Hendricks pair are among the title favourites as the playoffs begin. With 5 wins so far this season, Kalle Rovanperä was on a roll heading into the Ypres Rally Belgium, but wasn't expecting this kind of roll. He and co-driver Joni Haldunen were okay. That opened the door for championship rival Thierry Neuville, but he too fell by the wayside and into the corn. Victory went to Hyundai's Ott Tanak, his second in a row, but the Estonian still trails Rovanperä by 72 points with just 4 rounds remaining. A week later, Belgium played host to Formula 1. Max Verstappen was the first to check out the renovated Spa circuit in the 2011 championship-winning RB7, before coming from 14th on the grid to take his 9th win of the year in the race itself. Back in the US, the IndyCar Series was in Tennessee, where Scott Dixon had an eventful day in the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. The 6-time IndyCar champion came back from last position via a race-high 6 pit stops to win his 53rd IndyCar race. A week later in St. Louis, Joseph Newgarden took his 3rd consecutive victory at the Worldwide Technology Raceway to close within 3 points of his Penske teammate Will Power in the standings. Ganassi's Dixon sits just 11 points further back with 2 races remaining.
We head to Thunder Valley now to get set for NASCAR's wildest, craziest race.
After the Daytona 500, the Bristol Night Race draws a crowd like no other event in NASCAR. The tiny half-mile oval in Tennessee is known as the last great Coliseum.
Everybody wants to win at Bristol under the lights. I mean, it's just such a special place. And you think back about all the sparks that have flown and just what makes that place have so much excitement. The fans come out and just pack that place. It's electric. And so when we put our helmets on and we strap in and you roll off pit road at Bristol, you feel like you are in a Coliseum and you feel like you're going to do battle and you want to come out and you want to conquer it.
Something about when you turn the lights on, it's just different. Like, people get madder, they get more agitated, they get aggravated. The Bristol Night Race is what made Bristol famous. Every time we go there, it never disappoints. It's always a good race. There's always a storyline after. And a place like that where there's seats all the way around, you know, nearly 100,000 people there. It's just the coolest thing ever.
Saturday night, racing under the lights. It's Bristol, baby.
The race is 500 laps long, but when each one lasts only 15 seconds and the track is crowded with 40 cars and with steep banking, it's the ultimate melting pot.
As soon as you let your guard down, something happens, and next thing you know, your hood's up over your windshield because they've spun out and wrecked, or you've been hit in the back, or whatever the case may be. You can't really see the exit of the corner until you round the center part of the corner, how steep the banking is and the sight lines with the roof, and so sometimes you come up on the wrecks before you even see them.
You can always see me smile when somebody says Bristol Night Race. The Bristol Night Race is just special for me. It has been for 30 years. It's a short track race. It's under the lights. It's on Saturday night. It's all the things that I did since I was 12 years old. It's also just an incredible racetrack. It's neat to see the guys run the top and run the bottom, and just to be able to make those decisions and calculate when you're going to pass somebody. It's just a great place to race at, and we always look forward to going there.
Harvick's going to win at the last great Coliseum. Harvick wins at Bristol.
I think the biggest thing is being adaptive. You know, they put the PJ1 residue down on the racetrack, so you just have to really be able to search around and figure out where the grip is and if you have to run up high or how you're going to set somebody up for a pass. So there's just so many things that change and you have to adapt to during the race.
So they use the traction compound and they put it right around the bottom, and you know that'll be the preferred line. So you have to be able to hug the line and run very close to the apron so no one can get underneath of you. And you have to have your car where it rolls the middle really well, because if you're parking in the middle, those guys can get to your bumper and they can knock you loose and knock you out of the way.
It's different than everywhere else, right? Because when the caution comes out, you have about 30 seconds to talk. And then you better be on the pit stall or you've missed it and you've made a mistake. The driver has to get information quickly, the spotter's talking. There's a lot going on, and trying to organize a crew, especially a crew that, oh, by the way, besides 4 tires, pull out that right side fender because he just bashed on somebody trying to get by him. They have to have direct leadership that knows, hey, we're listening to this guy and nobody else is talking. And there's a lot of things that you don't have to deal with when you go to Daytona and you've got 5 minutes to talk about what's going to happen when you come to pit road. At Bristol, you're there before you know it.
Everything's happening fast. If you're running up front, you catch lap traffic fast. If you're running in the back, the leaders catch you fast. If you're trying to work your way through lap traffic, you need to do it fast or the guys behind you are going to catch you. And you're just constantly on high alert, and it's just very intense.
NASCAR moved the race from August into the playoffs a few years ago, and while this adds to the jeopardy, the world's largest conveyor belt hardly needs any extra prominence to ensure its status.
That was the first race I ever went to as a fan. It's kind of like your first concert being a Rolling Stones concert, right? Like nothing else really compares after that, so you kind of set the bar way too high as a fan to go there. But the atmosphere, the noise, the driver intro, the excitement, the sparks, the smell, it uses so many of your senses. You walk out of there and your ears are ringing for a day, and things happen fast, it's exciting, and it's 3.5 hours of adrenaline rush for sure.
Time now to meet the rally sensation on the verge of making history in the WRC.
At 8 years old, Kalle Rovanperä was already hoping to become the World Rally Championship's next flying Finn. Now 21, the Toyota Gazoo racing star is on course to become its youngest ever champion.
First things I remember about rally was when I was watching my dad driving in Rally Finland, and later on he got me a normal car first and then also a rally car. They had to modify the car quite a lot so I could reach the pedals. We did first a few winters on the ice tracks, and it was quite fun to learn how to drive rally and to drift on the snow and ice. It came quite easily, all the time going faster and faster, and it was really good fun.
When he was just 15, the rising star received an amazing offer from Tommi Mäkinen to experience a Yaris WRC firsthand.
Tommi was running the TGR program in Puuppola in my hometown, and at one point they asked me to drive the car in some endurance test. It was the first Yaris what they ever made, the test car, and yeah, it was super cool to be driving WRC car. It was my first time in a car like that, and it was nice, yeah, a lot of kilometers in the car, and I could just enjoy.
Mäkinen came calling again in 2020, this time to offer a full WRC contract driving for the Toyota Gazoo racing team.
I remember the whole year my manager Timo Joukki was speaking with the teams and speaking about the next years, and yeah, I remember it was really exciting to go meet Tommi and to sign the contract. It was really exciting time, and I was already waiting for the next years to come so we can start to drive with the real WRC car.
In Estonia the following year, Rovanperä became the youngest ever WRC winner.
Rally Estonia was nice. We got the first win there, and the year before we were also in the fight for the win, but we got the puncture. I was a bit disappointed, but then the next year when we went there I knew that now this weekend we need to do it, and yeah, it was really nice weekend. We were fighting hard, and the result was really nice.
Now under Jari-Matti Latvalä's team leadership, the Finn has become the star of the stages with 5 wins and 6 podiums so far this season.
Being in this team has been really nice. I remember when I started 2020, I felt really confident with the team. The team was really helping me a lot, and having to drive without any pressure is really the only place where you want to be. The team was supporting me so well, and I think that was helping quite a lot to be fast and to have a good results. And yeah, to have first Tommi as a boss and now Jari-Matti is nice because they have been really good drivers before. And I think they understand much better because they have been in the same situation and they know and understand what happens in the car, so that's quite a good thing to have from the team boss side.
The race is on for the 21-year-old who could break Colin McRae's record as the youngest ever champion by 5 years.
Of course, you always need to aim for the championship. That needs to be your target, so I would say for sure I'm aiming for it all the time. It's not a shame if we get some other medals before the gold one, but of course we try to do it quickly as possible.
NASCAR truck racing now as we meet the team at Kyle Busch Motorsports. More than a decade ago, Toyota Racing Development hooked up with NASCAR superstar and 2-time Cup Series champion Kyle Busch to provide young drivers with a chance to step up to the big time.
Kyle Busch Motorsports was established back in 2010, and in the truck series we've been able to grow over that time. We've won 7 owners championships, 2 drivers championships with the help of Toyota and TRD and their driver development program to raise these younger drivers up through the ranks and getting them into the NASCAR Cup Series. It's just been a phenomenal ride.
The current crop include 2021 regular season champion John Hunter Nemechek, second-year truck racer Chandler Smith, and Corey Heim, with whom Busch shares the number 51 Toyota Tundra for selected races.
It's great working with Kyle Busch. You know, he's obviously a legend in the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series. So he is a very busy guy. But anytime I kind of reach out to him, he's always open to chat, always open to a meeting, and that's really good for him.
They give us all the resources that we need to be able to succeed. And for myself as a driver, it's how I utilize them, and having the support of Kyle and everyone involved, and having him as a friend, as a boss, as a mentor, being able to utilize him for information to try and better myself only helps.
I don't have much experience truck racing and stuff, and a lot of these guys, like my teammate John Hunter, has been doing this for a long time. So it helps to bridge that gap of experience level a little bit when you try to help each other in the KBM organization, but looking into doing a lot of big things this year with these guys.
Kyle Busch has a no-mess approach to his racing, and he has very high expectations of his young drivers too.
A lot of people kind of down him because of how hard he is, but at the same time, there's a reason KBM's so successful, and that's because no matter who's in the seat, what's going on, he holds everybody accountable. So anybody that's not doing their job right, he's going to let you know because he wants everybody to succeed. If we succeed, he does ultimately.
I like the way that he talks to us. He definitely is very direct with what he says, and you know if you've messed up. But for me, it's how you look at that, how you've messed up, what you can do better next time, and try not to make the same mistake twice. If you don't have someone that holds you accountable, how are you going to improve as a driver on and off the racetrack?
When they're out there on the field, they're representing our team and our stuff and our equipment. I want them to go out there and give it their all, do their best, and sometimes you screw up. You know, you got to keep them honest. You're going to tell them the things that they did right, you're going to tell them the things that they did wrong. No different than with my son racing, giving him the same advice on being able to get better and continue to evolve and make themselves stronger.
When Busch is tied up with his Cup racing commitments, the trio look to each other for support. Incredibly, Nemechek has almost a decade of experience, including a year in the Cup Series, to share with his teammates.
It's been kind of fun being able to try and be a little bit of a mentor to them. I guess being the veteran at 25 years old in this organization is kind of crazy, but being able to be there and try and help them, we're one team, one goal.
We always bounce off each other with ideas and kind of how we do things, approach different racetracks, different driving styles and lines, and when we go to super speedways, we definitely try to help each other as much as we can.
Me, John Hunter, and Chandler are always kind of talking about it. Of course, John Hunter has the most knowledge out of any of us, and Chandler's kind of getting started, but he also has a full year under his belt. So me having the least experience out of any of them, you know, I kind of have to lean on them for advice, and same with Kyle, I have to lean on him a little bit as well, but they're all really helpful, and I really appreciate that.
Heim and Busch himself have both won races sharing the number 51, while Nemechek and Smith are fighting in the playoffs as they look to make the most of the opportunity with KBM and Toyota Racing development.
It's nice to be underneath the TRD banner. I actually started my NASCAR KBM World Truck Series career in a Toyota, left, and then now we're back. So I feel like it's kind of a homecoming. They care so much about us. They just want to win. They don't care what it takes. Let's win races, and I like that attitude.
To end today, we return to the Nürburgring and the roar of the Porsche 992 Cup cars.
Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland remains one of the toughest customer racing series in the world, and following the summer break, the hottest title battle in recent years arrived at the Nürburgring for rounds 9 and 10.
For me, it's great because I'm actually leading the championship. I'm really looking forward to continue the season. It's also actually our first race in Germany, so for me, as a German, it's my first home race this year. So actually, I've never raced here properly in the Porsche Cup, so that's sort of a debut for me, but I'm really looking forward to the experience.
German Porsche junior Lauren Heinrich led Dutch reigning champion Larry ten Voorde by 32 points at the top of the standings, with Danish rising star Bastian Buus in third place.
This year is one of the most competitive seasons that have been for quite a long time. We have last year's champion Larry with us, then we have the Porsche Junior and a lot of rookies that's trying to prove their talent to maybe become the junior next year. The battles are tough, but fair racing always.
This is a great challenge this year, and I really have to fight for this year, even more than last year. I think that's normally also the thing, when you are the champion, everyone wants to defeat you, and I really like that. We are really working hard, and of course also for this weekend for Nürburgring, we want to get some good points here.
Driving the 992 GT3 Cup car on legendary tracks like the Nürburgring is a dream come true for young drivers climbing the Porsche Motorsport ladder.
The 8 drivers that have been announced for the Hypercar program of Porsche, 4 of them have been in the German Carrera Cup, so I guess that also shows the level this series is having and is developing, and it's only getting stronger year by year.
Since 2006 I'm in the Porsche. Of course I like to be even more part of the family in the future, but that's of course not what I can decide. I just have to keep going and keep working on myself and putting myself every year, every moment on the next step again. Even if you think you're the champion, you're not there yet. And that's what I love, and that's who I am 24/7, racing and nothing else.
Larry Tenforder's victory on Saturday was his third in 4 outings, but Sunday would see Heinrich get the upper hand in a race typical of the leading duo's season-long battle.
We race the Nürburgring sprint circuit here, so it's a really small track, not so much space for all these cars, but I think it's great for the spectators. And the 992, it suits the track really well because here you have a lot of hard braking zones into turn 1 and into the chicane on the back straight, so it's really cool to see the difference in the lap time between the new car and the old car.
You have to be really on it every minute of the race, and of course with overtaking, when you have a chance you go for it, because the overtaking here is difficult with this car because all the cars are the same. No ABS, no traction control. So that's a great challenge, but I really liked it.
I've been racing Larry since 3 years now, so obviously you have some moments on the track where you get to know each other, but I respect him as a racer. I think he's always quite fair, but all of us are exploiting the limits of the regulations because if you want to win, you just need to do it like this.
A second place finish for the series leader left the German 23 points ahead of his Dutch rival with 6 races to go and a championship that is going down to the wire.
I'm still looking to win my first championship in the one-make series of Porsche. I think at the end it will get quite close, but I think that's what all these one-make series are all about. So looking forward to a close fight, and in the end I want to win a tight championship and not by big margins.
Next time, we get set for Australia's Bathurst 1000 and Max Verstappen's take on F1 in North America. We'll see you then on Mobil One The Grid.